We're here at TACCOM 2019 at Chimera Firearms Training. Taylor,
hey,
thank you for joining us today. One of the things that's come up as we walked around discussing what we have here is the fact that people buy the equipment, they buy the toys, they buy the accessories, they don't invest in the training.
That's right.
And a big part of that is cost and facilities to go do it, because obviously ranges are located outside of the cities. You've come up with a bit of a solution. Can you tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So the number one thing that we've done to make training more accessible is introduce simulation. Simulation is something the Canadian Armed Forces has been using since like the late 90s. It's something that allows for people to do training and get repetitions at a lower cost, but still getting a lot of valuable feedback, and in fact more feedback than you would live in a lot of cases, because you're getting things like your muzzle movement, you're getting things like seeing if your trigger press is affecting your shot release, you're getting a visual representation of what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. It doesn't replace live fire training. We have courses that have live fire components, of course, but we build it into the overall program, so you're getting more value out of what you're spending. And it's also something you can do more frequently because we travel with the system and we offer it in various locations. So we travel to Burlington, for example, in a couple of weeks. We were in Ottawa a few weeks ago. So we're trying to make training more accessible. That's our number one goal.
So one of the things the military has, as you mentioned, is a lot of dry training, either on exercises or before ranges. So this is bringing that aspect to the civilian market. So it gives them an instructed dry training period before they actually have to spend money on ammunition and stuff like that.
Exactly, and it even warms people up. So instead of you warming up on the range, you're doing your first 50 or 100 rounds and like, yeah, I'm starting to feel good. I'm starting to feel like I'm in the zone, remembering all the things that you were taught or you were told. You know, this is a way to do that without spending any ammo, and it's also that time to reload and time to change paper. So you're saving time in those initial couple mags that really are wasted a lot of the time because you're just getting into it, right?
Right. So is this standard paper target type of training, or is there scenarios involved as well for reaction and drills and stuff like that?
So we do training all the way from the intro level up to scenario training, everything in between. So we have everything from low light and combatives to scenario training that's judgmental in nature, that might involve de-escalation, that might involve non-lethal options, or that might involve a team element. So we have a really interesting concept that's a multi-user aspect to a virtual reality system where we could be in other ends of the world and be in the same scenario in virtual reality. So what that starts to do is starts to open the world up. So now if you have an instructor you want to train with, or a colleague that you want to work with that isn't nearby, you guys can connect. It's not going to be the same as in person, of course, but you're getting something that you can start to work with. So for even military purposes, when we're doing rehearsals before we're going in theater, if there's someone in theater that can be in that rehearsal, that would be an immensely valuable thing, right? But no one's going to pay for them to fly back, right? So they're in theater, they've got the kit, we've got the kit, we connect, okay, let's do rehearsals.
So because you're on a computer-based system, you have the ability to record, and obviously you can now provide shot-by-shot feedback and analysis, basically second by second throughout the scenario. Obviously that requires some time dedicated by instructors and stuff like that. So in a matter of cost, what would somebody be looking at if they wanted to use this as a means of an introduction to scenario-based shooting at that level? What would the average target shooter be looking at?
So if you drop in, you do a 1 hour session, like make an appointment with us, come in for an hour in Oshawa, it's $60 plus tax per person. So it's quite reasonable. You're getting a lot of value because all of us are military law enforcement instructors. Most of us have 10 plus years experience, and we're giving you whatever you're looking for. So if you're looking for scenario based, we're going to do that, and we're going to give you the AAR points that you need. We can amp it up or dial it down depending on what makes sense for you, and we're personalizing the training.
Excellent. Now it is a scenario computer-based VR system, as you mentioned. So are we talking the full goggles, the VR rig and everything, or is it a projected system?
So we have both. There's a value to both. I think that I'm about to teach a seminar on the future of simulation in about an hour, and I think that we're going to see screen simulators eventually get pushed out by some of the newer technologies, but the screen simulators still have a lot of value, and to be frank, most agencies are using them, so we need to know how to do that well. So we still have a screen simulator. We use it mostly on the marksmanship side of the house. The virtual reality system is a headset-based system, and the big advantage is the fact that it is a headset. It's a 360-degree environment. It's a one-person immersive system that you are dropped into that world. We've seen police officers with decades of experience, get so immersed in the system they have a stress reaction, and literally pull the computer off the table. Right? I saw an inspector do that at OPC in front of all his colleagues, and he was like, before we got in, he's like, oh, that's fine, I've been in gunfights, come on man, give me this video game, right? It's that kind of conversation, and then they go through it and they're like, okay, that's different, my brain was tricked. It's the ETF officer that was shooting around a vehicle, got shot at from a different direction, goes to put his weight on the vehicle and fell over because he didn't know the vehicle wasn't there.
Right.
So it's that ability to trick the brain, right? And that's the best part of a scenario, is when you do simunition, for example, and you start to forget that it's a scenario and you sort of just fight and work, and then afterwards you're like, yep, my heart rate was up, but I was also adrenalized. It wasn't just, it wasn't just work. It was like I was speeding myself up mentally, and I had to slow that back down.
So the weapon systems you offer, rifle, pistol, shotgun, is this all available if somebody wants to train on a specific aspect?
So we have it all available in terms of courses. Right now we're working off of a rifle and pistol platform on virtual reality and the screen simulator, because shotgun doesn't really translate as well.
Right. Excellent. So your goal is not just to have fun or shooting for shooting's sake. You have an end game in sight.
Yes, the reason I started the company was because I see that armed professionals don't get the access that they deserve to training, right? The amount of time and effort that a first responder spends in the military or in law enforcement, on serving the public or serving the country, they deserve the best possible access to training. It should be easy for them to access training. Training itself needs to be hard. The access should be no problem. It shouldn't be money. It shouldn't be time and distance. So we're looking for ways to make that happen. We even do little things like videos. Like I will put out a free video to explain the new C7 drills for the Canadian military, for example, just so that people can see, like, guys, this is the new thing. This is what we're doing. Right. There's videos out there from companies like Centrifuge that are explaining the new realities of fighting around a vehicle that every police officer needs to know. Yes, the engine block is covered, but there is more to the car than just the engine block. And how are you going to work around the rest of that car? What's going to work better than others? So those important pieces of information, we're trying to educate, especially first responders, and that's really our core business, our core of value is we're adding is trying to help people be more survivable, be more effective and safe.
Excellent. So if somebody's trying to get a hold of you, where are you? Social media?
Yep.
What's your access point?
So ChimeraFirearms.com is our website. We are at Chimera Firearms Training on Instagram and Facebook. And you guys can find us in Oshawa, just behind Gagnon Sports, which is right off the highway, Stevenson 401. You can see it from the highway. We're very accessible. Just give us a shout, set up an appointment. We'll be there.
Excellent. Taylor, thank you very much.
Thanks for the time, Keith. Appreciate it, man.